everyone, this is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make a necklace and earring set with the newest treasure bags, the Opalite and Amethyst Accents bags. And I will be making one on video today in the Amethyst bag. I made the previous design in the Opalite bag. I did have to make some adjustments from bag to bag, and I will explain both of them and show you exactly what I used for both of them. So regardless of the bag you have, you can make this tutorial. Also, this is a techniques video, and you can do this with anything in your stash too. You do not have to have a treasure bag. We will then later in the next video make a bracelet that will match the set. I've only made it in the Opalite so far, but this is what this looks like. It's a really cute little bracelet, and we will be doing that in another tutorial, but it will be a complete set like this. So anyway, these are what we're making today. Let's go ahead and look at the material list and get started. Okay, for this project today, I'm going to show you what we're going to use, and I will show you for both the Opalite and the Amethyst bag, though obviously we're going to make the Amethyst project today. And we are going to do the Amethyst just slightly different than we do the Opalite, simply because of the color differences. I have elected to do it a little different to make the colors blend better in the Amethyst bag. So what we're going to be using is we're going to be using the dyed shell beads. So the disc beads. We'll be using in the Opalite bag the turquoise dyed beads, and in the Amethyst we'll be using the purple dyed beads. And then we're going to be using this pendant today, and in the Opalite bag, of course, it's this one. We're also going to be using some 6mm round beads. Now, in the Opalite bag, we're going to use the 6mm opals. So I have been using these through the last few tutorials, just sprinkling them in. You should have plenty left if you've done the other tutorials. So you're going to be using some of these, and I will put exact numbers in the information box beneath the video player. So we'll be using those, and then in the Amethyst box or bag, we're going to be using the 6mm round pink pearls. Now you need about 12 of them. We did a project with them already, but I had just the right amount left to do this with it. So we're going to be using this. Now if you don't have any left, if you had to make a longer necklace or something, then you could use the 6mm round pink English cut beads if you want to. We're going to be using, like I said, 12 of them. So you could use these in lieu of these. Then we're going to be using some of the 4mm round beads. In the Amethyst box, it's 4mm round amethyst, and in the Opalite, it's 4mm round opalite. And we're also going to be adding to the box some bead caps, and we're going to be using quite a few. Again, I will put exact numbers in the description box beneath the video player in the material list, but we're going to be using quite a few. And I am still using this little kit that I showed you in the last couple of videos, and I can put the link again in this particular one. I bought 2 of them, and I found that I've had to use in some of these designs both sections in both kits. So in this one, I've taken out these little daisy looking, or not daisy, but little flower ones. Let me get you in real close. And this is the one I'm going to use in the Amethyst. And in the Opalite, I used this one simply because I didn't have enough of just one of the other. All you need in your stash is a small kind of shallow bead cap. It's about 6mm to 7mm round, and this one's probably closer to 6, and this one's probably closer to 7, or even maybe slightly 8, something like that. But you just need a shallow bead cap, and you can use anything you'd like. And then we're going to be adding to the treasure bag some eye pins for the earrings. You're going to need 2 eye pins. I've got these ball eye pins, or head pins, I'm sorry. So 2 head pins, and then you're going to be using quite a few eye pins. I have these short eye pins. You can use longer ones. You can cut them down if you would like and make more short eye pins from them just by putting a little loop. If you have the long ones, you can make eye pins from what you have left over, so you don't have to waste the long eye pins. So we're going to be using some eye pins and some 6mm and some 4mm jump rings and 2 ear wires, a lobster claw clasp, some of the chain that came in the bag, and some beading wire. So I am using Soft Flex medium beading wire. And we will need also 2 crimp tubes, and I am going to go ahead and use these little crimp stopper ones. I have them new on the website. You can use regular crimp tubes and your regular crimp tube tool if you would like, but I really like these little guys mainly because of the fact that they're pretty at the end. They make a nice finish. They're more aesthetic, and I don't have to put a crimp tube cover over them. So you can use regular crimp tubes. I have no problem using them. I like regular crimp tubes, but these are just kind of nice to end with, so I'm going to use 2 of those. The Soft Flex medium I'm using will work well with these, and Soft Flex Fine will also work fine with those. And I have cut about, I think I cut about a 16-inch piece because we're making this choker style. I'm adding to the back of it these long pieces of chain and then some bigger jump rings at the very end so that it will be an extender, and you can wear it at any length that you would like. And the front is just going to be the beaded portion. So this is what this looks like. And this is what we're going to be making. Now, if you do not want to make yours choker style, of course, you can just add more chain to the back or more beads all the way around. We have a lot of these little beads here, so you can do that if you would like. So let's go ahead and get started with this project. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make some little links with our 4mm round beads, whether you have the opalite or you have the amethyst, and we are going to make a connection for our bail. Now your bail has this little bail on top of it. You have your little loop on the actual pendant, and then you have the bail. I am taking that off to do this particular design. So if you just take a pair of pliers, you can just open that up. So it's just folded on the bottom, and we're just going to open that up and take it off. So you can see it's just pushed together. So take that off, and now we just have the loop to work with. Then we're going to make some little components that look like this, and we're going to connect them together with 2 4mm jump rings on both sides. So you'll need your 2mm jump rings, and we're going to make 6 of these little components. So I have a very short eye pin. You can cut yours short, and you can also use, if you have long ones, you can use the rest of your jump or your eye pin to make more eye pins. Just put a loop on the one side and then put your bead on it and make a loop on the other. That way you don't have to waste your eye pins if you don't want to. Now I'm going to drop one of my 4mm round beads on my eye pin. I'm going to put my flat nose plier right above it, and I'm going to try to bend my wire so that my loop will be the same direction as the previous one. And I'm just going to bend this straight over, just like this. And I'm going to cut it down to 1/4 inch, right around there. It's a little bit long yet, so I'm going to grab my flush cutters, cut this down a little bit. Then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, put it at the very end here, just about here on my plier. You'll have to figure out where it works best so you can make a loop about the same size as the one that's already on the other side. And then I'm just going to start to turn. I'm going to turn as far as I can, take my plier out, turn it over, put it back in towards the very end, and keep turning. And now I have a loop on both sides. So I'm going to close this a little tighter. And that's what that should look like. So let me get you really close. And you're going to make 6 of those. Then we're going to put them together like this. So we'll have 2 little sections of these components with jump rings on either side. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to just open one side of the little loop we just made, and grab another of the components we've made, put it on that little loop, and then we're going to close it. Just like that. And then we're going to do that with another one so that we will have 3 linked together like this. And then we're going to take 2 jump rings. I've got stuff everywhere, guys. So I'm going to grab a small jump ring. Now this can be about a 4mm jump ring, and I'm going to cut mine a little because it's not cut right. So I'm just going to trim this end a little bit. And you want about a 4mm jump ring, outside diameter. Put that on just like this, and then close it. I don't seem to have anything I need right here on my desk today. I don't know what my problem is, but let me grab another plier here. And I will close this. So I have one on one end, and then I'll open another. And I'll show you why I'm cutting these. So if you need to doctor yours up a little bit too, you can get as close as I can. See how it's overlapping instead of flush there? After I open it, I can take my flush cutter and just slightly trim it and flush cut it right on that very end. And then it'll close better because both sides will be flush cut and they will be able to close flush together like this. Now I can take this and close it. If you cut too much, it won't work, but if you just barely cut it, then you can get it to close better, just like that. Now I have my 2 little components that I need for my pendant. So I'm going to open 2 of the jump rings, and I'm going to put them on the loop of the pendant. So I'm going to grab one of these jump rings, and I'm going to open it again. Just a plier on either side, and then twist it open, and put your pendant on, and then close that jump ring again. And then I'll do the same thing with this one. And that way my pendant will be prepared. As I make my necklace, I can just grab it and incorporate it into the design. Just like this. So now you can see, let me back off a little. Now you can see this is my dangle here. So let me show you in the opalite so you'll know what it looks like. And it turns out a little bit longer in the amethyst because the amethyst beads are a little bit bigger than the opalite beads. But that's what that looks like. Then we are going to put that aside. Grab about 16 inches of your, I'm sorry, let me back this off, of your soft flex medium beading wire, and we are going to add an extension on the back. So if you don't want to make this choker style and adjustable, then you can make this portion longer. But I'm going to make this choker style, or it's going to lay really close and high up on the neck here. So I've cut 16 inches. Now I am going to take my disc beads. And with these disc beads, you'll have to look at them and try to select the beads that are center drilled. Some of them will be off drilled like this. You can see where the hole is way up here. I'm trying not to select those because they don't lay quite as nice together. So I'm trying to select just the ones that are very center drilled. And I am going to pick up 19 of them. So we're just going to grab a wire, and I'm holding one end and I'm just dropping these beads down on here. So I've got 5, 6, that one's kind of funny, that one's kind of funny. And I just have a pile of them out and I just kind of select through because I want these ones. The other ones will work fine on something different that you want. You kind of want the little imperfections in the drilling so that they don't lay perfectly together. But on the focal of your necklace, it can make it lay funny. So I'm just selecting the ones I want. That one. And a lot of them are a little bit off, which is fine, but I just don't want those. So, and let me count here what I've got. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I'm actually going to put 20 because I have one that's really thin on there. So I'm going to put 20. See, that one's weird. Sorry, I know this is boring. But, you know, sometimes, let me count them now. It just takes a minute. So, I'm going to put 20 beads on here simply because these are all different widths. And I have one that's really, really thin. So you can go between 19 and 20 inches or 19 and 20 beads and still have the right length for our next step here. So let me count these. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. I actually have 22. So there we go. Now I'm going to grab one of my little bead caps and put it on one side, and I'm going to have it go towards the beads. So the shallow part or the dish part is towards my beads. And then I'm going to pick up another one and put it on the other side. And then just kind of center this on your bead stringing wire like this. Like that. And then I am going to pick up my pendant and I'm going to put it on the jump ring on the very end of one of the little component strands. We're going to drop it down on the wire on this side. And then we're going to take the other wire and put it on the jump ring on the other side. And then center it like this. And that's what that looks like. Now, I am going to put another jump ring the opposite direction from the one that's on there on both sides. Now on this one, I used a little bit bigger jump ring, so you could, or not jump ring, bead cap, excuse me. If I'm calling them jump rings, just look at what I'm doing and know what I'm saying. So I have a bead caps on here that are a little bit bigger. And we're also going to change this one a little bit from this one. So on this one, we're going to use just 2 opalite beads. the 6mm ones. On this one, we're going to do this portion a little bit different with the 6mm, and we're going to put a 4mm in between. And the whole reason is because of the purples that I have in this particular bag. They don't blend as nice as this does. So this purple is one color. This purple is about the same tone as this one. This one's a little darker, but it's the same tone, and this is a whole different tone of purple. So I'm going to use my 6mm round pearls, which is a whole nother tone, and then put this little bead in between the two of them so that I blend this tone in with these, so that I have a more pleasing color scheming through it. So I need a little contrasting, but I need some of the same elements too, and some of the same colors repeating. That way it makes it much more aesthetic. So now I have my 6mm round. I'm going to drop another bead cap, and then I'm going to pick up one of my 4mm rounds and drop it down, and then a bead cap the opposite direction of the previous one, drop it down, and then I am going to put on a 6mm round. So we're going to get a little bit more length, and then another bead cap than we did on the previous one in our choker portion. But that's okay, because it's only, our choker portion's only like 12-13 inches. So we can do that, that's fine. But here's the difference from the two patterns I made. And of course you can string this any way you want. But on the opalite one, I just used a bead cap, 6mm round, bead cap, 6mm round, bead cap, bead cap. On this one, we're doing bead cap, 6mm round, bead cap, 4mm round, bead cap, 6mm round, bead cap, and then we're going to do another bead cap. So that is going to be the difference. And like I said, it's just for the blending of the colors. It's going to make things work better because we have different colors, but they're all purple. So we need to break it up and make it work. So now we're going to drop another bead cap down on this side. And then we're going to make another section of our disc beads. And again, I'm just going to kind of try to pick out some disc beads that look like they're center drilled the best I can. And I'm going to pick up 9 of them. And they don't have to be perfectly center drilled, but just more towards the center. If one is way off towards the top or the bottom of the disc, then you just want to kind of push it aside. They're still very usable. It's just in this particular pattern, they're going to lay nicer together if you choose more center drill. And some of them are pretty off, so. And you're going to choose 9 of them. So let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. I need one more. So let me grab this one. And that's what that looks like. Then I will pick up my bead cap and put it on towards the beads. Then put another bead cap on in the opposite direction. And then again, I'm going to repeat this pattern here. So I'm going to pick up a 6mm round, then a bead cap. Oh, I've got my bead caps mixed up here. Don't want those. This one here. That doesn't go in there. And then I'm going to pick up a 4mm round, then a bead cap the opposite direction of the previous one, and a 6mm round. And another of my bead caps, and then a bead cap the opposite direction. Just like this. Then I'm going to center my wire again, because this is going to get off-centered a million times while you do this, so you just have to continue centering it so that you're not horribly far off. So that's what that looks like so far. Just like that. And now, let me move back down here. We're going to do 3 sections. So we've got our, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on the opalite too. We've got 3 sections of just the 9 beads. So this is where we started. Here's our center, and then our first 6mm round sequence. Then you have a 9 disc sequence. Then you have your 6mm round sequence, and then we're going to do 3 9 sequences with a bead cap, the disc beads, bead cap, disc beads, bead cap, just like that. So we're going to do that on this one too with 3 segments of 9. And again, because we have this extra 4mm round in here, we're going to get a little bit more length than we did on the opalite one. And of course, on your opalite one, if you want to throw a 4mm round in the middle, you can do that too. It's just that I designed this one, and then when I was looking at the beads on this one, I thought because of the colors, I had to change it a little bit. It's just going to look a lot better. So now I'm just going to go off camera and make 3 more sections of my 9 beads, and then we'll go ahead and do the other side exactly the same way we've done this side. And get a little bead stopper, stop one side of your necklace after you've strung it, and then I will come back and show you exactly what we've got. And get a little bead stopper out, and then we will put the ends on. Okay, so now I have strung my entire design, and like I said, this is short, so if it's going to be a choker with an extender on the back. So if you want to make yours longer, then you can go ahead and do that. I would just go ahead and cut like 18 to 20 inches, make it at least 16 inches long in the front here by making a few more of these sections, and then put your extender on so that you can have like a 20-inch or 18-inch, whatever you would like. I am making this, like I said, just so that it's a choker in the front and chain in the back, and then an adjustable chain. So you can adjust your length any way you want. However, I did notice one discrepancy with this design from using these beads to these beads. These ones lay really nice on the bottom of the disc beads here, because the 4mm round are smaller than these 4mm round. These are more like 5, or these are 3.5 or something like that. So before I go ahead and crimp this all off and everything, I think I'm going to take my jump ring off of between these 2 little bead caps and put another jump ring on to give it a little bit more room, so that when I wear this or when I pick it up, these are going to hang a little bit lower and they won't be messed up, because I'm finding that it wants to lay on the top like this, which does not look bad. If you like that, that's okay. But this one lays on the bottom, and I like this look. So you can leave it like this. You're probably going to get your chain to fall over the front of it. Like I said, that does not look bad. You can leave it like that. But if you want it to lay along the bottom like this one, then we are going to need to add another jump ring. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this jump ring, and I haven't secured the ends, so I do have little bead stoppers on it so I don't mess up my entire design. And I'm going to grab off this little jump ring here. See if I can open it, take it off, and then close it again. And these are cut so badly, I'm telling you. Okay, so I've got that one now, and then I'm going to grab another 4mm jump ring and open it. See if I can, and put it on here. Then I'm going to go back and grab the wire between the 2 bead caps here and put this back on. And see if I like the way it lays better now. It's going to give it a little bit more length too, but I'm hoping, yeah, it's going to hold this 4mm bead a little bit away from my focal beads so that it doesn't push them strange, and it's going to lay on the bottom better than over the top of my focal, which again, that's kind of cool looking too, so it's up to you how you want to do it. So I'm going to remedy this side the same way. Take off the jump ring and then grab another jump ring. Yeah, let me close that one better. Be nice if I had some decent small jump rings, but I don't. And I keep trying to buy more and find more, and they're all the same, so, you know. Okay, so put this one on. And this wasn't happening with the opalite, just with this one. So when I'm doing two different treasure bags and I have a little bit different beads in each one, sometimes I have to, I design with one, I think, oh, I'm all ready, but sometimes I have to redesign a little bit in the second bag. So, and again, if I have issues too, I can always do a little bit less of the disc beads too, but I think that actually is going to lay better. It's going to lay underneath there nicer. Again, it's going to give me a little bit more length down here. So that's what that should lay like. And this one, like this. So I'm going to get a little bit more length between the focal beads and the pendant beads, but it's laying nicer. So there you go. Now, to do the rest of the necklace, we are going to make some ends for our extender and clasping here. So I have two pieces. If you're using the same chain I am, they're 12 links long. If you're not, measure about 1.25 inches and you will have the same length I do. Then I'm going to use some jump rings, and I'm going to put a 6mm jump ring on each side of this one, and also my lobster claw clasp. So I am going to open a 6mm jump ring. And yeah, my phone, it never does all this noise until I'm doing a video, so sorry about that. All right, so I've dumped this jump ring on. Yes, I've dropped this jump ring on. Let me get you in closer, like this. And then I'm going to drop on the lobster claw clasp, and I'm going to close this jump ring. Then I'm going to grab another jump ring, open it, and put it on the other end. Now this side is ready for putting it on my necklace. And now I'm going to make an extender part on this one. So I've taken 4 6mm jump rings and just linked them together like that. So just open them, put your jump rings on, and close them. And then I'm going to find the opening on this end one here and open it. And then I am going to put the chain, the other chain, on it, just like that. And drop it down. Now we're going to go ahead and end the necklace, and then we'll make a little bobble. I'll show you how to make one of these, and we'll put that on the end of our little extension. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take off the stopper on one end here, Now, I'm going to use these little stop crimpers. You can use a regular crimp bead, that's fine. Just do your regular crimping the way you would. I'm also going to use a couple of these wire guardians. You don't have to use those either. You can just go through your chain on your clasping here, and you can put on your regular crimp beads if you want. But I'm going to use these little stoppers. One thing I have noticed with these stoppers is if this little stopper guy is a little bit inside the bead, then it's going to stop you from putting your wire through successfully. So I've learned to just kind of hold on to them and pull the stopper out a little bit more just to make sure that it's not in there. Now, most of the time it's not, but every now and then I've come across a couple where the stopper was pushed in just a little, probably from shipping, who knows, handling, whatever. But then I can't put both of my wires through. So just to let you know, you might want to check that. And sometimes when you put it on, if the other wire isn't going through, take it off, turn it over, and put it on and try it again. So those are a few little things that I've come across with these. Now I'm going to take my little stopper, put it on my wire here. I'm going to make sure that I can go back through it. Yep, it wants to go through just fine. So I think, let me make sure. Yep. So now I'm going to get my wire guardian, put my wire through one side, and then put it through the other side. I didn't test my wire guardian. Maybe I should have tested it. Jeez Louise. And once I have it through just a little bit like this, let me get you in closer. We're going to bring this little ball up closer and push the wire through it. Like this. And then I am going to grab the longer piece here, or the short piece, I'm sorry, and I'm going to pull it down into my wire guardian. Then I'm going to push the little ball down towards the bead cap here, and then pull my wire again, and then push it back down again and pull my wire again. So I can get that bead or that wire nice and tight in the wire guardian. Let me get you in even closer so you can see that. Then I'm just going to kind of push my wire guardian together a little so it lays on top of that little crimp ball nice. Pull this one more time, and I have it nice and tight. I have this side tight so that I can make sure that my entire situation here is nice with tension so that it holds together nicely. You don't want to worry about having any slack with this particular design because you have tension release with the way that I've designed it so that you don't have to worry about movement of your beads, but you do have to have tension to hold them together nice and tight or the design will just be sloppy. Now that we've got this little crimp ball on here, we're going to push down the stopper and just push on it really hard. And let me arrange that a little better. And it's nice and crimped now. And then, and I am never satisfied with that, so I always have to push it a couple times because I'm like, does that really work? It really does. It's an incredible little design, but I'm just never too sure about it. Now I'm going to take my crimp and kind of push it back, get right underneath that crimp ball and cut this wire off so that I don't have any pokies hanging out. And that's what my end looks like. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to pull that one off, and I'm going to go ahead and crimp it exactly the same way. And I will do it off camera. Is exactly the same thing, guys. So I'm going to do that, and then we will come back and finish the ends of the necklace with our chain that we've prepared. Okay, so now you can see I have both of my ends on and everything looks good. I have enough tension to hold my entire necklace together. And now I'm going to make a little dangle for the end of my chains and put my chains on. Now, one note about the chain: if you're going to use something different than I'm using, make sure the links are big enough so that your lobster claw can go through any of the links on the chain or the very end pieces, so that your necklace will be adjustable, so that most any neck size can wear it as a choker. So now I have dropped a 6mm round pearl onto my head pin here, and I am just going to stick my round nose pliers right above that bead, and then I'm going to place my pliers so that they are flat and parallel to the bead mat. I'm going to push the wire over the back prong here, and then I'm going to turn my pliers into that bend, and now they're positioned up and down. I'm going to bring the wire over the top of that prong of that plier, and then I'm going to turn my hand to where my pliers are flat again and draw that wire underneath the prong that I'm wrapping around, and then I'm just going to kind of rock my hand back to kind of center my loop. And this is what I have, just like this. Now I am going to grab my flat nose pliers and hold on to that loop. I'm going to switch my hand so that I'm holding it with my left hand, and then I am going to position this wire so that it is the same angle as my plier, just like this. And then I'm going to begin wrapping around the length of wire that goes into the bead, and I'm going to wrap 2-3 times until my bead is nice and tight on there. And I'm just going to coil it as neatly as I can. And now I am going to grab my flesh cutter, and I'm going to go ahead and continue holding it in my pliers here so I can get as close as I can and cut that off and fling it across the room. Sorry guys, hold on to it the best you can, wear safety glasses, whatever, because wires can fly. Then I'm just going to keep holding on to it, and I'm going to tuck this in so that I don't have a pokey sticking out, just like that. Now my loop is still a little off center, so I'm going to put my round nose pliers back in and just rock that back a little bit like that. And now we have a nice little dangle to put onto our chain. So grab your chain, and the one that we put the 4 bigger jump rings on, we're going to open the last jump ring, and we're going to drop this bead on here and close it. Then we're going to come up to the end here, and I'm going to open the one with the lobster claw on it, and put it on the wire guardian. And that's what I have. And now I'm going to grab the other one, and I'm going to put a 6mm jump ring on the end of this one too. I don't know why I didn't do that already, but you'll want a 6mm jump ring on both sides of the chain here. So I'm going to put that on there and drop it on to the wire guardian, and then I'm going to close it. And this is what I have. I have an adjustable choker, so I can use any part of this chain or any part of these jump rings to put my choker on, so it will adjust up to, let's see, probably about 18 inches. Let me measure it. Yep, not quite 18 inches. it is right around 17 inches here. So if you need it even bigger than that, just add more chain on the back or add more larger jump rings, whatever you would like to do. But this works out just fine for me, and it just depends on what size you are. If you're very small, then you're going to end up linking it pretty high up. If you're bigger, you're going to end up linking it down here. Again, it's going to be up close to your throat, and this part is going to dangle right beneath your throat. So it's basically choker or collar style. So now let me show you what the opalite looks like, and then we're going to make a pair of earrings. I have also made a bracelet to match this, but it's going to be done in a separate video. I'll show you it real quick. I've made it in the opalite one. This is what this looks like. It just hooks on. It's really cute, and we will be making these in the next video to match this set. So now this is what your opalite one looks like, and that's what your purple one looks like. We're now going to make a pair of earrings like this that will match. So I've made one in my purple here. It's like that. And we're going to go ahead and make the other purple one. And of course, you'll do the same thing for the opalite bag, just with your bead caps and your 6mm round and your discs that you used for your opal. So in this one, I have my 2 little bead caps, and I have this little short eye pin. So I've got an eye pin, I've got 2 bead caps, a 6mm round, and I put my 5 disc beads onto a ball head pin here, and that's what we're going to use, and a and a ear wire. So you're going to double this, of course, because I've already made one. So we're going to start with dropping onto our eye pin a bead cap, our 6mm round, and a bead cap. Now I have a very small eye pin, so I'm not going to have to cut it down, and it's a little bit more difficult to turn because it's so short, but it works out fine. So I've got my beads on here, and I'm placing my plier just right above that bead cap. Then I'm going to try to position it so that I turn my loop the same direction as the loop down here, and I'm just going to bend this directly over, making sure that it's nice and tight as I bend it over against those beads to hold them in place. And then I'm going to grab my, and you can see I've got a little over 1/4 inch of wire here. I'm going to grab my pliers, place them on here, start to turn as far as I can, take my plier out, turn it over, put it back in, and continue to turn until I can just turn that loop right down into that bead cap, just like that. And it's nice and tight, and if it isn't tight, then you can just kind of tighten your loop like that. And then we're going to grab our disc beads. I have 5 of them on my ball head pin, and I am going to scoot back a little because, man, that's close. And I'm going to place my plier right above those disc beads. I have it flat again. I'm going to push the long wire over that back part of the plier, turn the plier vertical now up and down like this, and then holding it into the bend that I just created, bringing the wire, I'm going to move that over a little, bringing the wire over the top of that prong of the plier there. I know they're probably not called prongs, but you know, whatever. It works for me. And then I'm going to turn my wrist in that loop and position the plier flat and draw the wire underneath the plier the best I can here. And that's what I have, just like that. Grab my flat nose pliers, place it on the loop, position that wire so it's the same angle as my pliers. I'm going to switch hands so I can wrap with my right hand, and then I'm going to begin wrapping. So I'm going to wrap the long length of wire around the length of wire that goes down into the beads, and I'm just going to coil it so that I am nice and neat underneath the previous coil. And I'm going to do that till my beads are nice and tight on there. Then I'm going to continue holding it in my plier, I believe, because it's a little easier for me to manage. So I'm going to put it back in the plier and grab the flush cutters and get as close as I can here. And I'm going to fling that again, bloom. And that's the worst part about holding it on the plier, is you can't hold on to the wire so it doesn't fling. And then I'm just going to squish this in here the best I can, so that there isn't a pokey sticking out. And that is what I have. I'm going to grab my little eye pin that I put the other one, that I put the bead on. Find which side opens on the bottom here, and open that up just like that, just by cranking it out like you do a jump ring. Pop the new component you made onto that loop and then close it. Then I'm going to open the loop on my ear wire and put it on the other end of my component and close it. Come here. And now I have those little beads. They shed a lot, I'm telling you. Okay, now I have a really cute set of earrings. You can see the other set. Okay, so I'm going to clean up my bead mat and lay out both sets so you can get one last glance at them and call it good. Okay, so here they are. Now you can see that I did get a little bit more length with this one because of the 4mm beads in between, instead of just the beads back to back like this. But again, tying in the colors of this one made it necessary to do that as far as my eye is concerned. You can of course put them together any way that you would like, and you can use any bead caps you want. These ones are quite a bit plainer than these bead caps, so this one looks a little fancier. So you can use any bead caps that you want to make it look as pretty as you would like. You could well, you could just be creative with it and do it however you'd like. But I think that this turned out pretty. I like this one as well as I like this one. This is more my color scheming that I tend to gravitate towards, but I really do like this one too. And I have made a bracelet like I showed you in the last scene, and I've made it only in the opalite bag so far, but I will make it in. And that's how you open it and close it, like this. It's just a little bangle that we're going to make with some wire. So I'm going to do this to match the two sets in my next video, and maybe do a couple more combinations just to play with it. I think it deserves a video of its own, and this video is long enough. So this is what your sets will look like when complete, and I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.